kitchen table reloading 45 ACP with a basic Dillon 550 progressive press. William Hovey Smith, 2020. I'm the author of a number of outdoor books, and I also have a couple of business books. Chief among these is Create Your Own Job Security. Plan to start your own business at midlife. Now, this is actually applicable to anyone at any age. And in these uncertain economic times, and you're sitting at home wanting for something to do, well, now I suggest is a time for you to seriously think about starting your own business. Now, I also have 2 gun-related ebooks out, Hunting with Muzzleloading Revolvers, that was published just last week, and one that will be published this week, Muzzleloading Guns for Self-Defense. My new novel, my first, Father of the Grooms, is now available as an ebook on Amazon.com. This is Hovey Smith, the Backyard Sportsman. In a previous episode, we used a single-stage press to load 50 rounds of 45 ACP. And that took us something a little over an hour. And we produced a nice sack of good rounds here. Now, we're going to take a stripped down version of the Dillon press. Now, this is a press that you would order it from a catalog. And this is what you would get. You would get the press, you would get the die holder. Now, ordinarily, when this press was run, it would feature some accessories. Notably, an extra cost automatic primer feeder and an automatic powder feeder. So each time you pull the handle down, click, clink, you would have a finished cartridge. Well, we don't have those accessories, but we're going to load with it nonetheless. And we're going to see if it offers any real advantage in this condition over a single stage press. Now, we're going to use the Dillon 550 press and see how it works in this stripped down version. Now, the Dillon press is generally considered to be the gold standard of progressive loading presses. Here, this is a stripped down version. It doesn't have the automatic case feed. It doesn't have the automatic primer feed. It doesn't have the automatic powder feed, all of which can be added to this basic model. So, we're going to take some cases through all of the steps. I've already loaded several here just to get started, but I want to show you the details. Now, in the time of the coronavirus, when travel is restricted and you're supposed to keep your contacts down to a minimum, I find that I'm out of large pistol primers. However, I have many large rifle primers. Large pistol and large rifle are exactly the same diameter. Ostensibly, the large rifle may be somewhat more powerful, although I have my doubts about that. So I'm going to try some loads with these large rifle primers and see if they will function out of this 1911 pistol. My suspicion is they will. The reason being is on rounds that we fired, we get a very good indent on the primers, as you can see here. 2 different varieties of primers, ostensibly 2 different hardnesses, but still good, thorough strikes. Plus, the military pistol was designed to work under almost any circumstances. So I think it'll shoot it. So we're going to load up some with the large rifle primers and give it a test. Now, in the meantime, I have these to take completely through the process. I just test fired them in the pistol yesterday and they did fine. I have some that are a little bit further along. This has been lubed, sized, primed, and filled with powder. It's just ready for the final step. And you'll have a chance to see all of the steps going through this machine. So we're going to move the camera up so we can have a better look at it. What we're going to do with these cases is to remove the primer and resize. And for that, you use this die here. Now, this happens to be a Hornady die, but it will work in this press. Although Dillon also makes dies. So you can go all Dillon with this and get dies and press and the whole 9 yards. You heard the primer fall, and so now we have resized the case and we have deprimed it. So that can go here. For the next step, we're going to use this die, and what it does, it expands the mouth of the case very slightly so it has a bell. Now we have all the cases belled. I've changed the angle so perhaps you can see a little better what's going on with the repriming here. Okay. Again, make sure the primer is, of course, in the right way and all the way down. And then it's just a push forward, and you feel the resistance as it sets. And you saw the whole base plate sort of go up and down a little bit. You don't try to ease up on it, you just give it a good, firm, positive bump on the handle. And that way you're sure you get it all the way seated. Don't worry, you're not going to explode this primer. I don't know how many thousands of primers I have set in cases, and I have never, ever, ever had one detonate while it was being put in the case. So that's the priming step. This case used the last of my large pistol primers. And it already has a powder charge in it. As you can see, the bullet sort of set in the end of the case. So what you do here is you put it in this position, you rotate it under this die, and now you allow this die to grab the case, line it up, and set it. And you rotate it backwards, and you have a loaded round. The nice thing about this style of press is once you get these dies set here, as long as they don't become loose, and well, they may, but from time to time you do need to tighten them up, but you don't have to reset them. Unlike the single stage press, where each time you do an operation you have to change the dies. Okay, so we now have those done. I'm now going to put powder in these new cases and go ahead and finish these that were loaded with the large rifle primers and keep those separate. I've concluded the reloading with the Dillon press, and we turned out more or less 50 rounds with it. And I'm going to sell this press, and the reason there's nothing wrong with the press, it's just more complicated than I need for the few rounds I run. Maybe I load a couple of hundred rounds a year. This is a press for the guy who wants to shoot that many rounds at the range just to get his pistols warmed up. The press, as it sits right now with one set of dies, you can successfully reload with it all the way as I've just done. However, it is much better if you add the accessories and the automatic primer feed and the automatic powder feed, and then you can get a production of a finished round every time you pull the lever. And there are also all kinds of other accessories you can get with it. Now I'm selling the press for $300, and what you get with it is you get the press, you get 2 of these holders, and once you get the dies in these are set. You don't need to change them again. So you can very quickly interchange your dies and say you want to run 223 or 308 or whatever. Now you get a 45 ACP die with it for the base. Now that also takes care of the 30-06 family of cartridges. So 30-06, 308, and so on. Then you get this, which is the sizer, plus you get these various expanders and powder drop tubes. So you get those. Allen wrenches for adjusting, plus some spare screws. And here is your 4570 base and your primer for small primers. Now, the large one is already in the machine. So that's what you get for $300, and I include the shipping with that. Not the little table though, I'll hang on to that. So the next thing we're going to do is go out and actually shoot this ammo and see how it really does in the pistol, and in particular how those large rifle primers did in that pistol case. Rather than have you wait, I went ahead and tested those hulls that are reloaded with the large rifle primers, and they work just fine. The indent on the primer was not quite as deep, but all of them fired successfully, and so there was no problem with the load itself. Although, I think I need to load a little hotter for that particular pistol. It really wants, I think, the 230 grain bullet. But now this is Hovey Smith, reminding you to hunt what you eat and eat what you hunt. Be legal, be ethical, be safe, goodbye, God bless, and see you next time. In comparing the two presses, I found the Dillon 550 was a little more complex than I really needed to run the few rounds I reload every year. This is fine for someone who wants to get into volume production, who does cowboy action shooting or conventional NRA stand-up target shooting. At any rate, if you need a good reloader, okay, the Dillon's about as good as you can buy. Now, if you want to buy this press, you can contact me at hoveysmith@bellsouth.net. For more information on my books, blogs, and more than 800 videos, you can go to my website, www.hoveysmith.com. For information on how to start your own business, you can go to createyourownjobsecurity.com. To find out about my new novel, Father of the Grooms, and how you may participate in the screenplay and movie, you can go to fatherofthegrooms.net. Good hunting and good eating from the outdoors. Goodbye, and God bless.